Welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner podcast. My name is Scott. I'll be your host today. Got a solo podcast for you today. It's just me. Might have a little bit of a guest, really like a smaller guest coming on later today. We'll see if I can get her here, get her behind the mic. We're doing something new today. I'm videotaping this, so this could be it. This could be the one that finally goes on YouTube. I know I've been talking about it on the daily podcast. I want to get the daily podcast going on YouTube and not just the audio parts. I figured if we're going to do it on a daily basis, we're going to get the video up there and going. So, I got a lot of things going on here. I tried to do the video last week. It was just sort of some practice runs. Let me see. One day I ran out of batteries. The other day I halted in the middle of it and I tried to start it up again. And I guess the camera only runs for 30 minutes before it shuts down automatically. So that happened to me and it cut off in the middle of the podcast. And another day I couldn't match up the video to the audio because I screwed something up. And look, I've practiced 3 times, 3 strikes, you're out. So this one's going on. I don't know how it's going to work. But look for this one on YouTube in the coming days. Well, it should be today. Today's podcast is brought to you by Forever Home Running. Scott Frassard has been a multi-time guest on the podcast in the past, and he's helping us out with the Ordinary Marathon. And I really wanted him to be the sponsor of this podcast because the Ordinary Marathon's coming quick. And at the end of March, if you're not entered, you're not going to be able to get a personalized bib. And a number of you guys were super creative with that personalized bib last year. So I love that you guys have it. And it's really a cool thing, a cool addition to the race. So if you're thinking about joining, remember, it's for a good cause, the Sam Fund. Speaking of Sam, Samantha and I are going to do a video on how to get the most of your experience with the Ordinary Marathon. That's going to be done probably next week. We're going to have that one out. Looking forward to doing that with her. She's really super excited about it, and we'll get that out there. So check it out at ordinarymarathon.com. Hit that register now button and get going on that. So one of the additions that we've done for the video podcast, you guys aren't going to be able to see it if you're listening to audio, is I got a little sign here. It's got today's date, March 17. Happy St. Paddy's Day, everyone. The number of days left till Ironman Lake Placid, which is my current goal race. There's 133 days left as of today. Seems like a lot. It's not a lot. And then I actually have my weight there. So my weight goal for Lake Placid is to get under 205 pounds. I think it's a realistic goal. Today's weight, it also has my weight for today. So today, 223.8 pounds. Now here's what I know a lot of you guys are going to have a problem with me putting my weight here for you guys to see every day. Because you don't weigh in every day. And everyone's got their own system, right? Everyone's got their own method of doing it and how you guys do it. And I appreciate that. This is the way I do it, is I try to weigh myself every day and take a weekly average and then compare it. This number, 223.8, is a little bit on the high side. We went out to dinner last night. I ate some really kind of rich food. It's probably still sitting in my belly. Things happen. What happens is you learn. When you weigh yourself every day, you kind of learn about the fluctuations and, why one day your weight might be a little higher, then another day it might be a little bit lower. But you kind of have to keep in mind sort of the average. And I find that when I weigh myself once a week, if you hit those wild fluctuation days and one day you're higher and you didn't really know, but in reality, maybe your weight, maybe your average weight is lower, it's going to make you feel really bad about yourself when you don't necessarily need to be. And likewise, on some days, you might weigh yourself in. If you weigh yourself once a week, you might be artificially low. I find that if I drink beer one night and I don't really eat too much, the next morning I'll lose a lot of weight. And really, you're dehydrated. You sit there, you're dehydrated. You step on a scale, you feel great. You feel like you just lost a ton of weight. And then you wait another week and you step on the scale and you're back to normal again and it looks like you gained 5 pounds, but maybe you had a good week of training. You wonder what the hell happened. Now you're upset. So I think that that's what the average does for me, is it kind of gives me sort of a level playing field. Like I know 223.8 is probably a little bit on the high side. I expect it over the next couple of days to go low. And we'll see. We'll get to check it out and we'll get to see. And I hope there's a benefit there to that. But overall, in general, I want to get under 205. I got to tell you, I've been slowing down the last month. The weight loss has been slowing down. I had a really great January. I think I dropped about 8 or 9 pounds. And then February and March haven't just been sort of stagnant, and this is on the high side even for March. So we'll see. Hopefully this motivates me to push forward. Now, as always, you can find this and the back episodes of our podcast at our website, ordinarymarathoner.com. Check that out if you get a chance. We've been putting them up on YouTube, the audio only, for the longer form podcast. So like when I interview somebody, this is going to be a longer form podcast as well. The Ordinary Daily, we're not putting on YouTube yet, but now that we're going to start the video, that's supposed to be the next step. That'll be our next step in getting those up on YouTube on a daily basis. So we'll see, hopefully I have enough time to do this. Training's important, family's important, all that stuff. But, I think for now it's a good use of my time. We'll see how it works out. What else we got? Our YouTube, not our YouTube. We set our YouTube channel. By the way, I need you to subscribe. So if you're watching the videos, hit that subscribe button. We'd love to have you. But what was I going to say? Oh, our Facebook group. You can find our Facebook group at Ordinary Marathoners. There's a discussion group. It's a closed group, so you got to add yourself to it, and we'll put you through right away. And you can also find me at Twitter at Ord Marathoner. That's ORD Marathoner. If you follow me there, I'll follow you back, and we can get the conversation going on over there as well. Twitter's been weird lately. Anyone else find this? Like I get messages of news stories, and sometimes I see posts that I think there aren't even people I follow. It's like I don't know. Same thing for Facebook. I'm getting like a lot of ads and stuff. They're driving me crazy, but whatever. I'm still on the social media. It helps the podcast, and we'll see. We'll see how it goes there. So here's our YouTube video. Welcome to the channel. Here we go. This is what I wanted to do today, and so I apologize. I probably should have mentioned this earlier. What I wanted to do today was to sort of give a little bit of background about myself, because this is going to be a new video series, a daily video series on my training. Now you guys know how I do the videos on the daily podcast, and basically the way I do it is I talk about how yesterday's training went, what today's training is all about, and then sort of any kind of general thing that comes to mind, whether it be about training, whether it be about life, whether it be about the New York Jets signing Le'Veon Bell, all that good stuff. I try to put it into like a little 20-minute or less podcast, and that's how we do it on the daily. So what I wanted to do here on this sort of first video podcast, so give you a little bit of background on me and myself, and how I got into this, and why I'm doing this Ironman race. That seems insane, but I wanted to do that today and sort of start off the video series this way, and we'll see how it goes from there. So I do apologize for you guys who have been sort of regular listeners. This is going to be a lot of old hat stuff, but it's always good for me to kind of synopsize and see where I've come from and what I've accomplished and what I've done, and feed the ego a little bit. Sometimes you need a little bit of a refresher, and it probably I feel like especially for me sometimes, because when I have bad training days, I really take it out on myself. I'm my own worst critic, and it's nice to see sometimes, and kind of picture how far you've come when it's, when you've done a lot, especially the last 4 or 5 years. It's just, I never thought I'd be here. So here's the recap of the last 5 years we're going to do. So hopefully, isn't my posture terrible? I know you guys can't see it if you're listening to the podcast, but I'm looking at myself on video. I'm like hunched over. There we go. So here we go. Here's the little background story, which was, I grew up in a shanty town. No, we're gonna start here. We're gonna, for me, running when I grew up was always the punishment, right? It was always the punishment. A lot of people say this, but in reality, that's what it was. I never wanted to do it. I remember one day it just clicked where the end of practice sprints at football is like I just felt like crap, and conditioning made me sick, like literally sick sometimes. I remember, so college, when I went to college, I played 1 year of baseball, and then I played 3 years of football, and conditioning drove me insane. Running distance drove me insane. I knew it was good for me, but it was always the punishment and never something enjoyable. I think the farthest I ever ran by college was about 5 miles. Now, I moved to New York City, and I lived right on the marathon route, and I always saw the marathon on TV, and I remember every time I would see it, there would be something that would be like, man, I would love to do that. I would love to be able to accomplish that. And I even tried to get in 1 year, and I didn't get in. That was 2001. But then I just let it all go. And I had trouble, I had just personal issues and weight issues. I was up to 280 pounds in late 2013 when I kind of I was going through some personal things, and I knew I had to make a change, and I did. One day in particular stands out. I was staying at a hotel and decided I wanted to go running. I went to the hotel treadmill. I put the towel over the monitor, and I said, all right, let's see how far we can run. And I just started going. And I felt like I was on that thing forever. And I was like, all right, I must be close to a mile, right? And I took the towel off when I was dead tired, and it said 0.27 miles. Maybe it was 0.26 or 2, I forget. But it was devastating. It was utterly devastating that I couldn't run a mile. And I just looking at myself in the mirror, I just was not happy. And so upset at myself. I decided I needed to make a change. And I changed my diet habits immediately. And it was so strange because I've tried a diet in the past, but it never clicked like this. Things just clicked, and I was able to do it. I just, every day, whatever was going on with me psychologically, the day would just sort of fly by. And I'd look at it and I'd be like, oh, I hardly, I didn't eat anything bad today. I didn't snack. I focused. I woke up early before work, and I got, an hour on the bike done. And then when I got home from work, I got another hour done. And the weight was coming off. And a month later, I decided to go to the gym. Went to the gym, hopped on the treadmill. I thought, geez, I hope I can run a mile. And I got to that 1 mile at doing the same pace that I did in that hotel that day, and I just kept going. And before I got to a mile and a half before I stopped, which was a huge accomplishment. That a month before, I couldn't run I could barely run a quarter mile, and now I was doing a mile and a half. And I decided then that I was going to sign up for my first 5K, and a month later, I did my first 5K. Now, granted, I think something like 128 people did that 5K, and I finished in 125th. 2 of the people that did it were walkers, but I ran that entire way. I did it slowly. I ran it the whole way, and I felt great about myself finishing, even though I finished behind a 9-year-old. And I think a friend of mine went, and he was like, it was actually a nephew of a friend of mine who was in good shape, who ran with me the whole way. And it's somewhere he decided to kind of take a break and go play some basketball. Then he caught up to me, and he let me pass him at the finish line. So those were the 3 people that I beat: the guy who played basketball during the race and 2 walkers. But it didn't matter. I felt great. I felt great because I ran 3 miles, and it was something that I hadn't done in a long, long time. And it's something that 2 months before I just didn't think it was going to be possible to do. So I did it. And then I decided to do a 10K the month after. And I trained hard, and I did the 10K, and that was St. Patty's Day. That was St. Patrick's Day 2014. At the St. Patrick's Day road race in Holyoke, which was a really tough race, really hilly, really, really hard race. We had actually Kat Marcy on the podcast last week, and she said, it was one of the hardest races she's ever done. But yeah, that, crazy. And then I went to work, and I was telling people that I was running, and a woman came up to me and said, hey, you should try this half marathon. And I looked, and the half marathon was in 3 days. And I thought, no way I'm going to be able to do that. But I was just in this mindset that I was attacking everything. And so I went for it. And, I didn't exactly run the whole thing. I wound up walking the last half mile or a quarter mile or something like that. There was a hill at the end that I just couldn't conquer. And I walked into that finish line, and they handed me my medal, and it just felt amazing. Even though I was in serious, serious pain, it just felt amazing getting that medal. And then going home to my daughter, and my daughter seeing me and congratulating me and asking me if I won the race. She was probably 5 years old. Dad, did you win the race? You got a medal. Did you win the race? And, and it just in a way is like, yes, I did. I won the race because I felt so good about it. A friend of mine saw that I was doing it on social media, saw I was running. I was like, hey, I can get you into New York City Marathon. Anthony Marino, he was a podcast guest once too. I can get you into New York City Marathon. Do you want to run it? You got to raise money for charity, American Cancer Society. And I said, no way. No way I'm going to be able to finish a full marathon in 6 months. Just the thought of it was just like this giant monster. And I knew I had accomplished a lot, but I had just finished it was hard to finish that half marathon. And I just was thinking, there's no way that I'm going to be able to do double what I just did today. So I kind of took that home with me, and I sat on it for a couple of days. And at the end of a couple of days, I decided, I changed my mind. I'm going to do it. So I called him up. I got in the race. 6 months later, I was sitting there at the New York City Marathon. And and I finished. And I ran the whole way, 5 hours, 16 minutes. And that last stretch, that last straightaway, honestly, one of the greatest moments of my life. And I still, kind of get a little choked up over it because I can kind of put myself there in that place, in that time, and just feel what that felt like. And still to this day, even though I've accomplished other things, like that to me is the moment where really just my entire life changed. And really, I mean, geez, I got married. I met my wife right around that time. We got married a year later. We ran marathons together. It's part of me now. And that day just sort of set the bar. It set, it changed my life. Now, after that day, I thought, wow, what a great thing. I loved it so much. And I'm thinking, geez, I got to make marathoning a part of my life. So I figured what I'd do is I'll sign up for a marathon a year. I'll keep in shape. Next year I did Fort Lauderdale. And I realized then, you need to keep yourself in marathon shape if you want to run marathons. I didn't do a lot of long runs, and I came in about, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes shorter. I thought I was going to do better because I did train a lot, but I just never did long runs. And I wasn't in distance shape. I couldn't run the full 26.2. I had to walk a lot of it, and it cost me some time, and I felt bad. Signed up for Marine Corps Marathon the next year, and the same thing happened. I couldn't get in that training cycle where I would do my long runs every weekend. I made an excuse every weekend, and my time, Stephanie and I did that race together, and we were close to 6 hours. And then I started really contemplating whether this was something I really wanted to do. And I convinced myself, yes, that it was something I wanted to do, and I kept at it. But again, I didn't have the motivation to train. And at the end of 2016, I was running New York City Marathon, and I knew I just wasn't going to do well. And I knew I needed to go one of two ways, which was one, to do something, to pull it back and maybe do half marathons. Maybe I'm a half marathon guy, but I didn't feel like I was accomplishing anything by dumbing it down. I hate to say that word, dumbing it down, but you know what I mean, by lessening the distance. I didn't feel like I was doing myself any favors. There was no motivation to kind of do less, but there was motivation to do more. And the thing that always caught my attention was the Ironman triathlon. And now, this was never even a thing for me because there was no way in my brain that I ever thought that I could ever get into open water and swim 2.4 miles. And to be honest, I did think I could get on a bike and just ride all day long because when I was a kid, we rode bikes everywhere, and I just figured that was just fun. Jump on the bike, ride the bike, spin the pedals. You'll get around the course in however much huge time frame they give you. And then finish it off with a marathon that, if you could do a 6-hour marathon, which, you could do it with a walk-run kind of combo. I felt like, I can accomplish that if I put in the work. And so that became my next goal. And I just became immersed in this culture of triathlon training, getting up and swimming, which in the end, it turned out I was better at swimming than I thought. And then getting outside biking, which turned out to be the opposite, way harder than I thought. In fact, it's like my Achilles heel in this thing, and I'm not good at cycling, and I need to get better. And then the running, I know it's there, and I train for the run, and I know that at the end of the swim, at the end of the bike, it's going to be a run-walk combination for me. And if I go at it with the right strategy, I know I can make it. So fast forward a year. Ironman Lake Placid 2017 in July. And long story short, I finished it. It was a long day, 15 hours, 55 minutes, around there, give or take 5 minutes. I was definitely under 16 hours. It was weird. It was weird, the feeling. It took all day, and it took everything out of me. But it was sort of like when I ran that first half marathon. I felt like the race owned me. Like it was just a battle of attrition the entire day. Like it was just keep going. And I felt like I finished the race on the race's terms and not on my terms. So where I thought I was going to feel like I did when I crossed the New York City Marathon that first day, for some reason it didn't. For some reason I just thought, oh, it's the end of a long, long day. Yes, I was happy to get the medal and the finisher shirt and the little hat that I wear everywhere. But for some reason, I wasn't happy with the way I finished that race. And my friends Joe and Jim, who were at that race, who I just met, said, Stephanie and I got married a month later. They said, hey, for your wedding gift, we're going down to do Ironman Maryland in a month or two. Why don't you come with us? You could stay with us for free. Bingo. That's what I needed. So I went down to Maryland, finished Ironman Maryland in about 20 minutes faster than I had done Ironman Lake Placid, and I felt great about that race. For some reason, crossing that finish line just felt great. Mike Riley wasn't there that day, but it felt awesome. And I felt like this was like my new thing, and I had immediately signed up for Ironman Lake Placid 2018, and then I just fell into my old patterns again. I fell into the old patterns again of, hey, I've accomplished this already. I don't need to train so hard or make every little excuse in the book. Missed training this week, a little injury. I got to heal, got to take time off, got to rest. I gained 35 pounds. I was tickling 240 pounds when I took the starting line last year. And I knew I wasn't going to finish. I knew in my mind, I knew I wasn't going to finish. And I got to that starting line, and I just the week before thinking to myself, I shouldn't even do this because I can't do it. I shouldn't even do this. The difference this year was where in 2017, it was just me and Stephanie that went. This year, we were bringing Sam with us. And really, we were bringing Ellie with us too. Stephanie was pregnant. So, Sam was there to watch. And I knew I couldn't quit before I began. Because what would that say to her? What would that say to her? You know? So she went there with us, and she immersed herself in the village that day and all the things that were going on and the race culture and the race, everything that was going on. She just loved it there. She swam in the lake. She met other kids to play with. She had a blast. And then race day came. And I made it through the swim in about an hour and 35 minutes, which is kind of what I thought I was going to do, given that I haven't really trained very well. It was either that or just destroy myself in the swim and not make it at all. But I got on the bike, and it was pouring rain down the worst part of the course, and it was killing me. But at some point, about 15 miles in, I actually felt good, and I thought to myself, man, maybe I can do this. And another 15 miles later, things just came crashing down. And it was the hills of Lake Placid. It was the fact that I didn't ride the bike. My back was killing me. Throw 35 extra pounds on someone from the year before and try to do the same hills in worse shape. And, it's a recipe for disaster. And I'm very lucky that I finished that first loop of 56 miles. And when I did, I had made the cutoff by about 5 minutes, but I was going to have to do the second loop faster than I did the first loop. And I knew that wasn't going to happen. And my thought went to all right, I'm going to be 30 miles into the next loop with the back pain's only going to double. I don't even know if I'll be able to finish. My family may think I crashed. I knew I wasn't going to make it. My mind said, all right, this is the time to pull the plug. And I did. So I pulled the plug after one loop on the bike. I met Stephanie and Sam. And I said, hey, it wasn't my day. I didn't have it in me. I told Sam before, I wasn't sure that I was going to finish. And so she kind of knew. So Sam and I, we took a little nap, and then we kind of walked over to the finish line, and we were starting to watch the first group of finishers come through and watching Mike Riley announce everyone's name, watching how happy they were and how happy they could be after such a long day of being out and doing the swim and then the bike and then the run, and seeing the look on their faces and just the whole crowd sensing how wonderful it was, their achievement of finishing an Ironman that day. And Sam was clapping and Sam was laughing, and I said to her, I'm sorry I couldn't finish for you today. I wanted to. I didn't train hard enough, And she said, yeah, I know. You told me. And I said, well, what about next year? Because I'm looking at it, and the problem with being at these events and witnessing it is that seeing all the joy and the accomplishment of other people makes you want to have that feeling. And the fact that I was on that race course that day and I wasn't able to finish, it was, you guys that listen to the podcast, you know how something like that would make me feel. So it made me feel like I needed to get it back, and I needed to convince myself. By the way, I still haven't got my Ironman tattoo, and I'm going to do that, but I feel like I need to re-earn it. And I know some people are like, oh, you never have to re-earn it, but I feel like I need to re-earn it. So that's what I'm going to do is after I finish this year, I'm going to get that tattoo the week after. I'm actually going to make the appointment because, damn it, I'm finishing it. But anyway, I looked to Sam and I said to her, do you know what Dad went through 2 years ago when I was in the basement training every day and I had to go out train every weekend and I wasn't around as much? How does it make you feel? Would you want Dad to go through that all over again and all the time away and all the time downstairs? Would you support me and help me if it means that next year I'll be able to be out there and finish and you'll be able to watch me finish next year? How would you feel about that? And she said, yeah, Dad, I really want you to finish. I really want you to do this next year. And I want to see you finish. So, that made up my mind. And ever since then, I have been at it. I have been, since July of last year, working the bike hard. I PR'd a marathon in Hartford, although there wasn't a little hiccup afterwards. But I finally beat 5 hours. When I ran Hartford in October, I was 4:59 and change, 30 something. But I broke the 5 hour mark, which for me is like a huge marker. And so everything has kind of changed for me, and everything is now finish this race, train for this race, get this race done for Sam, do this race for Sam. And yeah, it's always going to be partly for me too. But, she has been watching. And she sees sometimes, hey, Dad, did you run today? You said you were going to run today. I didn't see you run today. It's great. It's great that she's taking interest in it. And it's great that she's watching it and seeing it. And, we had our friend Laura over for dinner the other day. She's an Ironman. And Sam was like, I'm going to be an Ironman when how old do I have to be, Laura, to be an Ironman? And Laura's like 18. I'm going to be an Ironman when I'm 18, Sam said. Now, I don't know if she has what it takes to do it because she's on her iPad all the time. I don't know. But wouldn't that be great? She's watching it right now. She knows what it takes. Wouldn't it be great to see her do something like that? And she does run. She was part of a running group. Girls on the Run, it's called. It's a great program. It's pretty much all over the place. So you might want to check it out if you have, a kid, 4th grade, 3rd grade, 5th grade, whatever it is. But she ran her first 5K last year and she felt great about it. It was so accomplishing for her. So maybe this is something that she'll want to do. And I feel like it's only going to grow the more she travels to Lake Placid and she kind of immerses herself in this Ironman culture that she loved. She absolutely loved when she was up there. So maybe it's something that, maybe the iPad goes away a little bit more and the YouTube videos and the TikTok and all that stuff. And maybe the training comes in, which I would love for her to enjoy and for her to take part in, and she could train with me. Wouldn't that be awesome? Wouldn't that be awesome? And the thought of crossing that line next year for her and having her be there and having Mike Riley call my name, I mean, it is such a motivating factor for me that, you know what? I got a long run to do today, guys. So we're going to wrap it up here. I'll tell you what, I'm going to try to get Sam down here and kind of interview her for a little bit, get her on the video. If not, we'll call it quits, but let me see what I can do. We're going to see if we can get Sammy on here. We'll be back in a moment. Okay, so I was able to get my guest in today, my lovely daughter, Samantha.
Hi.
Welcome to the show, Samantha. Are you nervous?
Yes.
You're embarrassed?
No. Maybe.
Okay, so this is what I'm going to ask you to do. Just be yourself. Okay? But don't be wacky. You can be wacky.
Yes.
You can be wacky. So I was talking today about Ironman. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about how you were up in Lake Placid with us last year. Mm-hmm. You got to talk in the mic.
Well, yeah.
Remember? And what do you remember? What do you remember about Lake Placid from last year? What are the cool things? What are the things you liked or didn't like?
I liked the hotel because I love hotels. And I liked... What else did I like? I liked when we drew on the chalk when the bikes were coming down.
Oh, yeah? So what did you write? Do you remember?
We wrote, go, you, your name, and the other guys' names.
Jim and Joe?
Yeah.
And you wrote like little notes for us in the street?
No, wait, no. We said go, Jim and Joe, and then the other one we said, like, me and Stephanie said, like, love you, Scott, or something.
Aw, that's so sweet. Unfortunately, I only went by that part once. Right?
Yeah.
Because I didn't finish. What did you think? What else did you like about? Do you remember? Let me see. Do you remember the lake?
I like seeing you, and I like swimming in the lake.
You like seeing me what during the race?
Yeah.
So, what was the coolest part about watching the race? Do you remember how early we had to wake up?
Yeah.
Did you mind waking up that early? Or?
Yes, I minded a lot.
You did? And then
We went to sleep at 12 o'clock.
no, we didn't. We went to
Yes,
sleep
we did.
way earlier than that.
No, way later than that, actually.
Oh, you mean you went to sleep? What do you mean you went to sleep at 12 o'clock? That's like midnight.
Yeah, exactly.
We didn't go to sleep at midnight. We ate dinner at like 5 o'clock. We were in bed by 7.
No, we weren't.
Yes, we were.
No, we weren't.
Yes, we were.
No, we
There's
weren't.
no way Dad would have, because Dad had to wake up at like 3:30 in the morning.
Well, we went to sleep at 12 at night.
We did not go to sleep at 12 at night. We would sleep at like 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock.
No.
We did.
Liar.
No,
Yes.
I'm not lying.
You're a big liar.
All right, well, I'm not. There's no way I would go to bed at midnight on the night before a race. That would be crazy. Maybe that was another day. Maybe you're thinking of
No,
another
that
day.
was the day of the race we went to sleep on.
So the
midnight.
day after the race. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
So the
the race
race
happened.
The race happened.
And
we
then
finished
that
watching-
night we went to sleep
that-
at midnight.
yeah.
Right, because we were awake because we were watching other people finish and we went to the restaurant for dinner. You had ribs.
Yeah.
You like ribs.
I love ribs.
Right. And remember we saw Jim and Joe because they both finished?
Yes.
But we didn't see them finish. We were away from the finish line then. So
Yeah.
so let's go back to that well before race day
I love the lake also.
you love the lake, right? I was going to say you love the lake. You love swimming in the lake. It was kind of cool, right?
It was fun.
You met some people. You met a girl your age, and you guys were playing for
On the playscape.
in the playground most of the day, and last year they had like a little kids race. You remember?
No.
Well, we watched the end of the kids race. Do you remember?
No.
You don't remember? You remember watching the kids finish up the race at the end?
No.
Well, you said you were going to do it next year. You don't remember that part?
No. Well, I remember saying that, but I don't remember.
You don't remember seeing the race? Okay,
No.
You missed that part. But there's like a little kids race there, and I think you wanted to do it next year, which I think would be really cool.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool for you to do. And you're in shape now because you did what? Do you remember what you did?
What did I do?
Well, you ran what? What did you run this year?
What did it do?
I don't know. Well, what program were you in?
Girls on the Run.
And you did. What was the last?
That was last year.
Right, but you liked it,
Yeah, I did.
and you're going to do it again this year.
Yes.
And what is the last day of Girls on the Run? What did you guys do?
A 5K.
That's awesome.
I did it with Emma.
You did. Was it fun?
Yes, but the bad thing was it was we were really thirsty and we went. So the water fountain is in the middle of the race.
Yeah.
So we were like dying of thirst. And we went to the water fountain. We finally got there and the water tasted like pee.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
It was.
Yeah. You got to be careful with those public water fountains. You never
It
know.
wasn't a water fountain. They were giving out water for the 5K.
Oh, so why didn't you go to get that?
That's what I got.
And it tasted like pee?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Maybe it was Gatorade?
No, it wasn't Gatorade. It was just plain
Plain
pee
pee.
water.
That's not a good thing. They got to work on their aid stations, I think.
Yes.
What do you think?
Yes.
So, all right. So let's go back to Lake Placid for a second. Let's talk about race day. Now, we woke up early. Remember, Dad had to leave early, and they wrote his number on his leg. Remember, they wrote the numbers on my leg.
And you
on my
were wearing
arm.
sweatpants.
Yeah. And then I had to wear a wetsuit. Remember?
I don't remember.
The black wetsuit?
I've never seen you in it. Stephanie said you look ridiculous.
Thanks, Steph. But so that's funny. But you saw me swim, right?
I think I saw you. I'm not sure. They were pointing, but when they were pointing, there was millions of people
Yeah.
there.
And everyone looks the same because they're all wearing the wetsuit with the same color cap
We should put like
and
I
some
don't something
goggles.
on your cap,
Let's do that next year.
like a heart or something.
Yeah. Well, I think we figured out a way to do it.
What?
I forgot.
Wait, can
but
you just-
Stephanie knows.
Can you get your own swim cap if you want to?
Maybe you put like like a little, I don't know, like a band or something on your wrist. Like a
Yeah, but
bright
how are
yellow
you going to
band.
see the band with everyone around
Well, if it's
you?
bright yellow, maybe you'll notice.
But it's going to be underwater.
Well, your hand comes out of the water, right?
Yeah, but like, we should get different colors for you, Jim and Joe.
Yeah, Jim and Joe aren't doing it this year because they're big wusses. It's okay. They're not big wusses. I take that back. They're faster than me. So, all right. So you watched the swim, and you thought you saw me, but not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I was looking where they were pointing. I think I might have seen you.
Right. And then, so then you went out after the swim. You walked over to the bike area, like the street.
We walked over to like a little wall that we sat on, and so we were riding on the ground with the chalk.
Right.
There was a really fast biker coming, and we had to run as fast as we could back.
Yeah, you don't want to get run over by a bicycle. That's not.
It's
That'll ruin your day.
It's better than a car.
Yeah, probably. Not for the biker guy though. That if he tumbled over you, that would hurt.
Yeah.
So yeah, be careful with that. But I'd love to see you if you guys, write messages for me next year. That would be.
We will. We
That would be pretty cool. So, and Jim and Joe and their wives are going to be there. Mm-hmm. They're just not going to be racing that day.
Are they going to be like where?
And Laura's going to be there. She's not going to be racing.
And the new infant is going to be there.
Ah, Ellie.
Yes.
Ellie. So, all right. So let's see. So you stood there and you rode on the ground, and then you saw Dad pass.
Well, that was a while after. I'm sorry. That was we wrote and people.
Right.
People came by. A lot of 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 people came by.
And then
Then
I
you
came
by. And then
Thanks, Sam.
a lot of other people came by.
All right. So what did you think when I went by? Did you think?
I said hi to you.
Yep. I said hi to you.
You waved.
I did. And then, but remember, what did Dad tell you before the race about the possibility of me not finishing?
Because you didn't practice hard enough.
Right. And so did you think that I was going to finish? Sorry. Did you think I was going to finish anyway, or what did you think?
I thought it was like half and half. Like, I thought you were going to finish because I feel like you did practice at least.
I did some, but it takes a lot of practice.
I thought you were at least going to finish like the swimming and the bike. And
All right,
then
well,
I
I finished the swim.
Yes.
And then I did half the bike.
Yes.
And do you remember, what did you feel like when you were sitting there rooting on the bicycle people, and then you saw Dad walking down the hill? When after?
Oh, no, those were the runners.
Oh, well, the runners were. Oh, right. So the runners were going by.
And
already.
then I saw you walking down the hill. This was weird. I thought you already finished.
You thought I already finished? Wow, you'd have missed my finish. That would have been terrible. But what happened really? Do you remember?
You didn't finish.
I didn't finish. I had to give.
But I was so proud of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
Because you did the swimming.
I did the swimming.
And you did some of the bike.
Yeah, I tried my best. My best wasn't good enough on this day, though. So then we kind of took a nap a little bit, and then what did we do after? Do you remember? Where did we go? We hung out near the
finish line.
Right. And what did we were watching what?
We were watching the guy that you said has been on your podcast, I think. We were watching him
He was on the podcast
say
a couple weeks
names.
ago. Yeah, he was saying everyone's name as they came through, right? And it was kind of cool.
The gross thing about it was that you showed me a video of somebody twisting their ankle.
Oh, yeah, the guy broke his foot when he came through. That was horrible.
Didn't look good.
Well, imagine being out there for so many hours and working so hard and going so far, and then you jump at the finish line, and you land on your ankle and you break your foot.
I wouldn't jump.
He was from China too, I think.
Please don't jump. Please don't jump.
Imagine having to. Yeah, I won't jump.
I want you to crawl.
You want me to crawl? Why would you want me to crawl?
Because then Stephanie would get really embarrassed.
Oh, babe. So, all right. So I remember we sat there and we watched everyone going through. And what did you say? Do you remember when we were talking to each other? Mm-hmm. What did you? Stephanie's leaving. We actually, and we have the baby. We have the baby monitor right here. So if she, we're gonna, if she wakes up, we might have to go. But
Yeah.
she's good.
Probably.
She's good. She's out. So So you remember, what did Dad ask you? Dad asked you if
I ever wanted to run with you.
yeah, and what'd you say?
I said yes.
Yeah, and well, when Laura was here, what did you say? She asked you if you were ever going to do an Ironman, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what did you say?
Yes.
And how old do you have to be?
18.
So you have how many years left to go? Well, you're almost 10 now.
8.
So once you turn, you'll have 8 years to go. That's a lot of time. You think you should start training soon?
Yes. I think I'll just start training today.
You will? Swimming is hard. And biking on
I
hills
love
is really
swimming.
hard.
I love swimming. I'm good at swimming,
Yeah?
especially I'm really good at backstroke. I'm really fast.
Yeah,
in
you could.
backstroke.
They let you do the backstroke if you want, but it's usually faster if you do forward.
I'm fast. I go like that, like a fish.
You're like a butterfly fish. So we were at the finish line, and I asked you. I said, Sam, do you remember how hard Daddy trained the year before when I finished, and how many hours I had to spend training?
Millions.
Right.
Oh, and I said, now you're gonna do 4 hours. 1 hour swimming, 1 hour running, and 2 hours on the bike.
Right. So that's for my training, right?
Wait, let me make it 4 hours.
You told me every day I had to do that, right?
Every day now you have to do 8 hours.
Oh, God.
2 swimming, 2 hours swimming,
Yeah.
2 hours running, and 4 hours on the bike.
Wow, you got the ratios down.
On Zwift.
On Swift? Okay,
Yes.
She likes Swift. That's an unpaid for plug. by the way.
Remember.
Cool. That's funny. We can't say that here, though.
I know.
But it was funny. So when I asked you if you wanted me to try to finish it again this year, what did you say?
Wait, what? What was the
So we were at the finish line last year, and I said, do you want Dad to spend all that time training again so that I could finish next year and you can see me finish?
Yeah.
And you said what?
Yes.
Yes, and you said yes. And then you came up with my training program, as you just explained, which you would be a tremendous coach, I got to say. You should look into that.
Yes.
So you're like a slave driver. You're like you cracking the whip whenever. So you remember a couple days ago.
You better run tonight, or else it's gonna be a punishment.
What's my punishment?
I'm gonna make you do all that running. I'm gonna make you do a full Ironman, like a full running, like run for 5 hours in the backyard over and over again.
Backyard, it's just a circle. It's all muddy.
And around and around and around for 5 hours.
Okay.
And I'm going to take your phone away so you don't look at that. And I'm just going to go outside and see what you do. Yes, that's your punishment.
Cool. All right. Let's do that. Now, I'm going to run tonight. I promise. I know exactly when. We're going to run at like 6:30. All right. I have to, you know how many miles I have to do today?
15,000.
16 miles, not 15. 16 miles.
I was close. I had the 15. Close.
I think I can do 16 miles. It's going to be tough, but I can do it. What do you think?
How long is that?
I don't know. Probably about 3. It's a little less than 3 hours. 2.5 to 3 hours, depending on how I feel.
Yes.
Good? Is that good enough?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. And, yeah.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, yeah, we're all wearing green here. Right? You're here for the shenanigans, it says.
What?
Your shirt. You're here for the shenanigans.
Ellie's the shenanigan. Ellie's Miss Shenanigan.
That's cool. Well, listen, you're a really cool guest. I should have you on more often.
You should have me on every day.
Every day?
Every day.
You know, Dad does a podcast almost every morning.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, we still have to do that thing. When you wake up at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, we're going to do a video about that. Maybe we will one day. You have to wake up at 5 o'clock, though. Is that going to happen?
Then I'm going to go to sleep at 5 p.m. No, make it 12 p.m.
Why would you do that?
Because I need my beauty sleep.
But wait, 12 p.m. is midnight.
No.
You want to go to sleep at noon?
Yes.
So you're going to go to sleep at noon so that you can get up at 5 a.m. the next day?
Yes.
And then you'll be rested by then?
Yes.
Yeah, you think so? After 17 hours of sleep, is that going to be enough for you?
Yes.
Okay. I don't think you have to go to sleep quite at noon, but you go to sleep.
Fine, I'll go to sleep at 4.
Okay. That's better. Maybe we'll do that this week.
Okay.
All right. Can't wait to have you back. You getting tired?
Tired.
All right. So, I love that you love the Ironman stuff. It really makes me happy. And I love that you stay on my case when I don't train. And I love that you're watching.
And you love that I'm your coach.
And I love that you see how much hard work goes into accomplishing something like this. Because sometimes I feel like you get lazy. Do you feel like you get lazy sometimes? No?
Okay, maybe yes.
And I think that, what you have to learn sometimes is that when you have something in your head that you want to accomplish, that it takes hard work to do it. Right? And sometimes you spend a little too much time on that iPad.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
All right. So we're going to say goodbye. This is our very first video podcast. And you're singing. Are you singing? We watched School of Rock last night, right?
And I'm watching it again this morning.
It's a good movie. It wasn't too bad for you either.
Yep.
Cool. All right. So we're going to wrap it up there. Our very first video podcast. Hopefully this came out all right.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. Did you have fun?
Yes.
I had fun having you on. It was super nice. And I'm going to work super hard to make sure that we get across that finish line and we can celebrate in Lake Placid.
Okay.
All right?
Yes.
I love you.
Love you too.
All right. We're gonna end the podcast there. And you want to say goodbye?
Goodbye.
All right. Always remember, when it comes to running, I'm no expert. I'm just ordinary.
Remember to like our video and subscribe to our channel.